Hello and welcome. Today, I want to talk about the protest I went to on Friday. But before I get to that, I would like to share a little bit about what my dad and I did while he was out here. He came out specifically to help me clear out my cardboard room. No, I'm not going to show a picture of my cardboard room. That's my millennial sort of curse, not yours. And no one's allowed to see it except me. And I mean, now no one can see it because it's not even there anymore. But I guess there's an additional story I should share because the big project my dad did while he was here. Oh, we also watched Vampire Diaries together. We got through all of the first season. It was really good. I absolutely love Vampire Diaries. I'm probably going to keep watching even though we got into season 2 where it starts talking about the other supernatural creatures that come in, and it starts getting so over the top and wild, and it still maintains that high octane drama. Such a fun experience. But the project my dad was mostly working on while he was here was repairing a hole in my ceiling. And you might be asking yourself, Chloe, you silly goose, why would you buy a house with a hole in the ceiling? Now, let me tell you, I am not that silly of a goose. I know to buy houses with ceilings intact. This was the only house I will probably ever buy in my life. But there comes some things with like home ownership that I didn't know, having been someone who rented my entire life. And one of those things is when you have a central air conditioning system. Central air conditioning systems are very different than strategic SHF satellites or the electronics found in public school districts. So when my central air conditioning went out, naturally I thought to myself, well, I'm an electronics technician. I know how to fix this. This has electricity going into it. And so I go up into my attic and I look at the machine and I go, well, there's your problem, as you know, every technician does when we see what's wrong. And I noticed the drip pan was full. So that's what I was pointing out. And you might be asking, Chloe, there's no way you say that to no one. And you're right. My house actually has a Victorian era ghost that haunts it. He is incredibly transphobic and he wouldn't talk to me for like the first 6 months. But, well, we'll get into it. So the drip pan was overflowing. The pump wasn't necessarily putting it out to the output. And what I did was I turned to go downstairs to find someone who knew about ACs because I was out of my element. And as I turned, I stepped on what I can only imagine was a soggy board due to the drip pan being full and overflowing onto this board. And then because it was like soggy, there was no time for me to react as I felt it crush out from underneath me and then hit into the sheetrock and then fall through down onto Rowan was down below. She scurried out of the way, but I came down through the ceiling, and you'll never guess what that board was there for. I have knob and tube wiring because my house is older, and one of those runs of knob and tube wiring was actually running alongside this board. So thankfully, instead of hitting the ground and breaking something, I actually get hamstrung between my legs on one run of the knob and tube wiring, and I'm hanging there. My animals are freaking out. I have a giant hole in the ceiling, and I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to get out of this one? You know, I've been in a lot of sticky situations. That's why they call me Sticky Basket. I get myself into quite the predicament. And as I'm hanging there like an episode of Ow My Balls out of Idiocracy, Lady Balls, remember it's 2025, we've made it to the future. The thought dawned on me that the ghost in my house is laughing at me. I can no longer just be confident in my own house because I fell through the ceiling, and now every time I walk by that part of the ceiling, which again, it's on the way to my bedroom, it would remind me, hey, here's why your heating bill is going to be $500 in the winter. And you know, you think, why would you leave a hole in the ceiling? And obviously I didn't leave the hole the entire time. I put a piece of cardboard up there. But getting out of being hamstrung by a knob and tube wiring run is, you know, quite a feat. And I just want to talk about how I was able to kick my legs up to where the start of the hole was and then iron cross out as I lift and pull my way up, only to realize, oh, hey, now I'm just up higher, hanging over this hole. And I like held it there for a little bit to relieve my areas of other pressures as I tried to contemplate what direction am I supposed to roll that's least likely to make me fall through the ceiling again. And also, it can't be to the easy direction because that's where the other run of knob and tube wiring is. The return, or the one that if I touch both sides, it makes me go zap. And I didn't want that to happen. So I found my way out, and here I am. That actually happened in like the summer of last year, and I don't know. I just wanted to share it with you. I think, I don't know if that story makes me look good now that I think about it. Why would my friends and family tell me to tell that story on my YouTube? Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, so the protest on Friday was my protest on Friday was incredible. I went up to the Capitol building. I was outside there with my big sign. I'm not goofing around. I'm here to tell the politicians how I feel, especially after they disgraced my service and don't even acknowledge me as a person and try to discredit every achievement I've ever gotten, depersonalize me, and take away the work I've put in to become an educated individual. So obviously I'm going to tell them to eat shit. And after about an hour of standing there, I realized, hey, other people are walking with signs, but there's no one actually congregating. Believe it or not, there's a permitted protest like 3 blocks back. Now, I don't know what a protest is doing going and getting permits. That's not how you protest. You protest by telling people, hey, this is a load of baloney, and my baloney has a first name. It's Sticky. You know what I'm saying? And I can't abide a government that refuses to acknowledge the fact that we exist in a system that enforces social constructs on its citizens. That in and of itself deprives us of our very right to believe what we want, and as a result of being pressured so heavily by high-end capitalists who have been stealing my labor for my entire life, at least the profits off of it, not the labor as a whole. They were renting it from me. But after a lifetime of that, you get kind of fed up. And so I didn't quite know how to fight back, and I reached out on this channel kind of asking for quantifiable ways, and I think it was Economic Prisoner had recommended I go and volunteer at food banks. Now, I'm not one for food banks. There are certain issues I just feel so awful helping people, and it's not because I feel bad about them, it's because we have a society that's in absolute disrepair when you look at what people have to go through. And these aren't animals, but so many people will rationalize the harms we commit against these people. And they say, oh, we don't need to take care of them. Who cares? They're homeless for a reason. And the reality is they're not homeless for a reason other than we have a shitty society. Same reason, the only reason any immigrant could be considered illegal is because the immigration system is flawed. Not because the people who are crossing the border are flawed. It's not a moral atrocity to break the law. It is human to err. Even look in like the Christian Bible, where we have to have some son of God come and die for our sins, which I don't know. When you learn that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are all the same person, it feels like one of those old switcheroos, which it's like you gotta be kidding me. You're telling me God came down here, sacrificed himself, went back up to heaven, and was like, yeah, you're welcome. What, bud, what did you do? That's not a story that inspires confidence in a higher power. That's a story that pisses me off, because if I had a higher power, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be playing Dark Souls right now. Anyway, So the big announcement I wanted to make, though, is that after looking into issues and ways I can help, I have decided to join a nonprofit organization that focuses specifically on trans individuals and building community and family within trans spaces, spaces that are open to trans people, and it's incredible. I will talk about it more as we go on because I have a lot of work I'm planning to do with them. But it was such a big moment for me reaching out and then finding a community that clicked with me, that let me realize, hey, I do have skills and value I can bring to organizations, even though the bourgeoisie has convinced me I am useless. It's because I refuse to play by their game. I refuse to let the profits of my labor be scraped for the pockets of some fucking billionaire. Gross. Elon Musk and I can sit in a room together and that guy a Nazi salutes, I pop a Nazi in the face. That's how I go, you know? And pop is that's punch, just so everyone's aware. It's not a reference to anything, it's punch, fist, non-lethal, non-violent. It's because the aggression of someone who struggles with social cues acting out in a way where they seemingly act as if there are no social cues and do things like Nazi salutes, those are the type of people that need to get just quick redirection of where their mind is going. Because if they think their mind is going the right way by doing symbols like that, then I think my fist is going the right way. And I'm not advocating you punch anyone. No. We just re-educate people through physical sort of persuasions, you know? A lot of people, especially nowadays, I think maybe COVID increased the number, but they seem to have this undeserved confidence about them. And for me, I know my words have meaning. And the reason I know that is because I've said something and been punched in the face. As soon as that happens, everyone has a realization in their life of, hey, maybe I shouldn't say stupid stuff. And I am not advocating to be on the one throwing fists. But wasn't it Jesus who said, hey, you got a trans girl who's producing a lot of labor value for the bourgeoisie and not necessarily taking a lot of value for herself. Maybe she could have a rock or something and give it a toss over to the glass ceiling at the. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest. I'm not one of the fucking atheists that like was a good Christian or anything. I know some Bible verses and I know enough lore out of the Bible to know that it's kind of wacky. But like when either it's illustrative or like God is real. Like that's the two ways you can interpret the book. And if you come out of reading the Bible and you go, wow, God is real, I recommend you reread it. I don't know. Actually, no, don't reread it. Go ahead and step outside. Read a book. Read anything. Look at the world around you. Because if you sit and try to understand God's creation by seeing what was happening 2,000 years ago, you aren't even seeing the most magnificent part of it all. That it's still here, still growing, and that we can all exist here together. And again, if you want to go ahead and hold dogma from 2,000 years ago against yourself and believe you're going to hell, that's perfectly fine. But I tell you what, I'm going to heaven because I got a meeting with God after I pass. And similar message I want to send to Elon Musk. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I just wanted to announce that I partnered with a nonprofit and I'm going to be working with them in the future. I'm going to keep you guys posted on the work I do with them. And I wanted to wait until things became more official. So I waited for like the first event I went to so that I could meet these people and see who they are. And it's just incredible. It's truly, I love you all. And the strength you have given me by being here and supporting me in the sticky basket side of things so that I could go off and do the other things in my life. It truly means the world to me because it's in these moments of reflection that I find the new strength to keep moving forward. I don't think about how things could have gone. I think about how things went and how things will go in the future. And I truly believe we are on the cusp of what could be a new American revolution where we move towards a system of at least capped out capitalism, where we don't have people shifting economic weight to overturn the government. That, you know where that doesn't happen? Communism, where there isn't a bourgeoisie stealing the profits of labor. Anyway, I'm not going to get too preachy. I've been reading a book recently about that stuff, and maybe one day I'll share that with all you. It's been a day. But I wanted to make this video because I kept promising, oh yeah, after the weekend, I got a big announcement. It's the nonprofit. They did an event last night, and it was incredible. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.